Football 101 with Coach Bret Bielema. Brought to you by Carl, the official health provider of Fighting Illini Athletics.
Welcome back to Football 101. This is Martin O'Donnell, joined as always by Coach Bret Bielema. And Coach, we're standing here in the TV booth, above Memorial Stadium. Little different perspective here. It's not crowded, an empty stadium overlooking Zubke Field. What does that bring to mind for you?
I think probably the outside world would be kind of shocked. I think as players and coaches, a lot of times when you come up to, like we do recruiting up here in the press box a lot, right? And we bring recruits in here and they talk about, whoa, this stadium, and there's nobody in it, right? And it's always a great perspective of how awesome Memorial is when there's no one in it. It's obviously really good when there's people in it. So excited to get back home this weekend in the student section to have 12,000 strong last week to play in front of, and our players really feed off of that end, especially like anything we do, we try to cater towards ending the game or starting the game from an offensive point of view that an opponent has to start down there by our students. Yeah,
student section's been incredible this year, for the home games. But obviously coming off of a couple tough games, what's the response been from the team? Here, obviously you saw them on Sunday, but what's the response been from these guys?
From a head coaching point of view, like you're always just worried about the mental psyche of your team, right? Like where are they at? Actually, a point that we hope to get to is right after a lot of success, you have to always even keel them. And the thing after a loss for a team that cares, which this team does care. I thought they responded very well. You kind of judge it off of what I talked to Tank. What do you see in the weight room? I talked to JB. What do you see in the training room? And then we get them later in the day. And this group is eager. They're hungry. They're very resilient. I met with some of the leadership council on Sunday night, and one thing that was very, very clear to me is that their passion and desire to have success has not faltered. Right? They realize they're 3 games into a Big Ten season. We've got a non-conference opponent coming this week that they respect, that's been able to beat Duke already in a 3-1 team. So we got a tremendous challenge this week, but it's a group that's really hungry.
Yeah, a group that's hungry, and obviously we knew coming into this season, there's a lot of experience on this roster, but there's also been some young guys contributing as well. Josh McCray obviously last week, but tell us a little bit about some of the underclassmen that have made a contribution in the past.
Yeah, on the offense side of the ball, obviously Josh probably been the leading guy, right, to have some numbers that he's put out statistically that are exceptional. But Pat Bryant emerged really at the end of game last week, right? Number 13, he made a couple nice sideline catches, did some good things during the kicking game. Just a guy that really continues to move forward. A couple offensive linemen and have begun to practice and rep. Now we haven't got him in the game all that much, but that's coming. I think on the defense side of the ball, Dwayne Johnson, Tyler Strain, like there's a lot of guys that have continued to move forward. Kanena, inside linebacker for us that came in and played on special teams last week. So we'll continue to bring and build in talent, and it's nice to see, especially one of the neat things for me on this past weekend was to see Tyreek Barnes doing a test with Kanena before the game that was just pouring knowledge into a youthful player that was really fun to watch.
Yeah, no, that's great to see. And certainly we're seeing some of these guys, make those contributions, but kind of, diving into the defensive side of the ball, first going to ask you a little bit about, kind of the Illinois defense, but it kind of segues into Charlotte and a little bit of what they do. But, one thing, obviously the defense stepping up the last couple of weeks, 33 points combined allowed after allowing more than that each of the previous 2 games. So the Illinois defense has made a change. But, one of the things, talking about defensive fronts, you guys have mixed it up a little bit. Obviously Charlotte mixes it up a little bit, kind of even front, 4 down versus odd. High level, what does that give you? The ability to be multiple there, what does that do for a defense?
Martin, as you like our football 101, right? Like, so to for the outside world looking in, the traditional defense that Illinois played in the past was kind of a 4 down front, 2 D tackles, 2 D ends, 3 linebackers, or a combination of linebackers and safeties, a 4 down front. What we've emerged to a little bit here is to run a 3 down, right, or an odd front. You'll hear a lot of people say, or an okie front. And that really is 2 different blocking surfaces that gives an offensive different looks before the ball's ever snapped. And the more you can kind of, some teams are one way, some teams the other ways, or some are a little bit of combo platter, and that's what we are. We're doing a little bit of both, and it's been very successful for us in special situations. This team that we're getting ready to play, Charlotte, is another team that plays a lot of, they'll play literally an odd front on one play and switch to a 4 down the next play. So it forces communication and makes you do a lot of different things, but it's good football IQ and intelligence to know the difference of both.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it gives the offensive line, I know, a lot to think about, right? Because different guys are uncovered, different guys are covered. You don't kind of have that static. So certainly look forward to watching that and the continuation of the growth of the Illinois defense this week. And, one last question I have for you. I mean, so obviously, after this game, halfway through the football season, right, which is kind of crazy to think about. But, one thing a lot of people do, kind of, de-stress, unclick for a little bit. what's your favorite band? What kind of music you listen to?
I'm a reggae guy by nature.
Reggae, okay.
Springsteen fan by virtue, right? Like I grew up listening to him, and because of some friendships I developed along the way, turning a little country western. Justin Moore, who was one of my favorite people in life, but also one of my favorite performers. But I think just being around our players too, like you really learn to dive into what they listen to, right? And I'm not saying I'm quite up to their level of recall, but I do like listening to new music and kind of try to always keep that perspective when I'm with my daughters. Like one of my favorite things to do is turn on a music and just watch them react, right? Because they're obviously new to life. And one thing my daughters love is to have anything with a beat, like when we're having dinner or lunch or we're at the park or we're on a playground or on a wagon ride. I always try to have music popping because I think it just brings out people.
Okay, I like that. So reggae, we're gonna have to dive into that a little bit. I feel like the Springsteen thing. I mean, I feel like that's just like if you're gonna be in coaching, you have to be like a coaching or a sports writer. That's Bruce Springsteen, right?
That's right.
But Coach, appreciate you making time, and thanks for stopping by Football 101.
Thank you.
Football 101 with Coach Bret Bielema. Brought to you by Carl, the official health provider of Fighting Illini Athletics.